Welcome back. All right, so I did a video on a message sent to our Facebook page. Now I want to talk about something posted on Twitter, and just the kind of thing that I know this is how people see me. I'm wearing a Canucks hat because I'm a Canucks fan, but I'm not. So the word is this, that because I don't blindly cheer for the Canucks, because I watch every single team and I watch every single game, would I be watching Seattle and LA on December the 20th? No. No, I would not. If I was not the hockey guy, I would not be watching Detroit, Winnipeg, Washington. I'd be doing something else. I'd be playing GTA. I would be, but part of my job is to watch all the games, which means I watch all 32 teams equally. So when I'm dealing with a fan who cheers for one team, I assume they watch that team, and they aren't watching the other teams. So there's that. So there's one here, and I'm not going to use their tags here, but now I want to see where Shannon, the hockey guy, NHL Power Rankings with the Canucks, last week he had us at number 10. Response, 8th at least. THG has Kings at 4 and Canucks at 5, and he puts F that guy. So the argument was the Canucks should be first, and I knew that there were going to be Canuck fans that wanted the Canucks at first, but they were not playing the best hockey, according from what I watch, in the league. And then the response is, he hates the Canucks, just admit it already. I wish it was that simple. Like when you watch a team for over 40 years and all they do is just break your heart over and over and over and over and over again. Sure, but I don't. And he always posts a video saying he's a Canucks fan, but never gives them recognition they deserve. He downplays or makes up an excuse as to why he can't place them that high. That's why I unsubscribed from his YouTube channel and stopped following him. Now, remember, at the start of this, he says, now I want to see the hockey guy's NHL Power Rankings. Why? You unsubscribed and stopped following me. Can't you? Like, if I've unsubscribed from a channel, I don't talk about it. I don't. The only exception being the downfall of Boogie 2988 and talking about what that is. Because it's fascinating how Boogie had, really, all he had to do was keep his mouth shut and just do like the Francis stuff and the video game stuff, and he'd still be a really popular YouTuber, but he got in his own way. So that's why that was talked about. Yeah, it's getting really old for someone who's watched him for as long as I have. You're right, he always downplays or makes excuses for anything they do good. His excuse is he's witnessed a lot of heartbreak. So have all of us. That's a BS argument. If you're not 50, like I'm talking back to 1981, and then he puts, just drop the Canucks and be a Boston Dallas fan or throw in a different third team. There are fans who have been watching longer than him and still believe he's a shitty Canucks fan. Where did I say I didn't believe? Like, obviously when a team gets off to a good start and the season's not a month old at the time they're posting this, I'm going to be like, I'm waiting on this. Like, I can't be grabbing pom-poms and rah, 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 let's go, Canucks go. When I'm watching hockey games, I'm one way, and when I'm doing a video, I'm another. So if I come across as not being a Canucks fan, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job of covering all teams and being fair. And so would I love to have the Canucks first in the power rankings every week? Abso-freaking-lutely. That'd be awesome. But it has to be justifiable. It's like last season. Boston was number 1 on my power rankings for ages, and I felt like it was like, okay, they're still number 1. I almost felt like apologizing, like, I swear, guys, they're playing the best in the league, and thankfully, because they had so many bloody wins, nobody cared. And anytime this season he's talked about Vancouver's start, he always has to add, I'm just waiting for everything to go bad again. Like, F off. But it's his problem if he can't enjoy this. And then the guy answers with 4 laughing emojis. I should probably unsubscribe at this point. LMFAO. Response, I used to watch this stuff religiously, but he's way too negative towards the Canucks, and that's what drove me away from watching him. Again, remember, this started with, I want to see where he has them on the power rankings. Last week we were at 10. Somebody answers him with, he has us at 5, and the answer is, F that guy. So they moved up 5 spots, and the answer is, he's not a real fan because they're not number 1. Think about this for a second. I have a channel where I talk about every team equally, and I try to be fair. So you want me to put, so you're saying if I was a real Canucks fan, they would be number 1. Whoops. And yeah, you don't want to put the cart before the horse. There are certainly teams that got off to hot starts that could not keep it up. There are teams that got off to bad starts that turned it around. So yeah, it makes some sense to look at a team that was expected to be on the fringes of a playoff spot and say, I'm not that sold. Now at this point I am, and I have said publicly I am, but it doesn't matter because at this point these people have decided he's just negative. You know, here's the funny part. It really it's not important. Like it's so like, do I cheer when the Canucks win? Yeah. I do the Brock Besser yell every time Brock Besser gets a goal. Why would I do that if I wasn't a Canucks fan? Why would I have a Pettersson jersey? I can see my Luongo. I've got Hughes. I've got Besser. I've got JT Miller. And the thing is, when the Canucks fans were all like, well, we need to get rid of Miller. He's got to go. I wanted them to keep him. When they got rid of Horvat, I saw a lot of negativity about Horvat. And he sucks. He's never going to do anything again. And what did I say? Former Canucks captain. I hope he does really, really well with the Islanders. And he has. So, like, it's just, it's one of those things that's weird. I have always been a Canucks fan before anything else, but because I don't cheer for them properly, because I don't rah, which I do when the camera's off. When the camera's off, I'm excited. I am, but it cannot affect it can't. The moment that my excitement causes my power rankings to change, I have to stop. I have to cut off the power rankings altogether and do something completely different. It's just exhausting to listen to that shit constantly. Kings have a very similar record to the Canucks over the last 7 games, but he acts like the Kings are the greatest team ever. LMAO. Canucks have points in 7 straight. Kings have points in 6 straight. Not to mention we're above them. It's clearly a negative bias. So this is the one problem that I've always had with people when it comes to power rankings. I look at who you're playing, how you're playing. Is it a full 60 minutes? And a loss doesn't mean a team drops, just like a win doesn't mean a team goes up. Tonight, there's 3 games on the schedule. Right now, Seattle's playing LA. If Seattle beats LA, that's going to hurt LA in the power rankings. It's going to bring Seattle up. If LA wins, that's what's supposed to happen. So it's not going to affect either team in the power rankings. But that's the thing, right? Is that there's this, oh, we can't stand them. Well, then why are you talking about me? I don't talk about channels I'm not subscribed to anymore. I don't talk about channels I don't watch. So I find it odd. I find it odd. Shannon always disappoints me when I expect optimism from regarding the Canucks. I don't blame him, though. Poor guy's been watching the crappy for so long. And then, yeah, I don't blame him at all. 2011 broke me. See, there are Canucks fans who agree with me. At least the Canucks made the Cup final in the post-expansion era. Leafs still haven't. See, and the funny thing is that's true, but I'm not a Leafs fan. So that doesn't disappoint me. Like, I've talked before, I've had people say, oh, Shannon hates the Leafs. And the reality is the teams that I generally dislike are the ones that have knocked the Canucks out of the playoffs, Boston out of the playoffs, or Dallas. And when I look through 40-plus years of playoffs, or about 40 years of playoffs a few years ago, Toronto has never beaten a team I cheer for in the playoffs. It's never happened. So I can't say I hate the Leafs when they've never beaten a team I cheer for. They may have beaten the Minnesota North Stars in the 80s when I think that. I don't think so. But, like, they don't beat any. Like, that's the thing, too, that I guess would frustrate people. Would be like, he probably hates my team. Did their team beat a team I cheer for in the playoffs? Then I probably don't care. Disappointments in the past doesn't mean you'll never come back. I noticed THG's negative Nancy with the Canucks. Always remember, if the Red Sox and Chicago Cubs can end curses, we can end this drought. It's not just a Canucks drought, though. It's a Canadian drought. And it's over 30 years. And so the fact that it's been over 30 years since any team in Canada won the Cup, I'm honestly of the mind at this point, I don't think that a Canadian team's ever going to win a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. And there's reasons for that. I've talked about it in videos and videos and videos. I think the fact that we follow hockey so religiously in Canada, I think that makes it a lot, so there's a lot more pressure on teams in Canada than there is in the US. And it is really hard to describe, but yeah, these guys can't walk down the street without, everybody knowing who they are, kind of thing. And they can if they're in LA, they can if they're in Arizona, they can if they're in Florida. And it has to be a little bit easier, right? Because when you're not at the rink, you can kind of forget. And in some Canadian markets, you can't. Had to watch it because I lived in Vancouver prior to and after Bure's arrival, was really into Canucks. Poor Shannon displaying typical cynicism for a Canucks fan after half a lifetime of disappointment. Can't imagine if he was a Sharks fan. The Sharks at least were good for an extended period of time. The other thing with the Canucks is the longest period of time where they've been a contending team is maybe 3 years. Like, where you can look at them and go, this is a legitimate, bona fide contender that could win a Stanley Cup. 3 years is about the limit, and then they're done. And it's so frustrating. Like, the early 90s, about 3 years there, done. Early 2000s, about 3 years. Late 2000s, about 3 years, done. Frustrating. Bro whipped out the whiteboard. It's all over. Canucks fan for 45 years. Once again, a great team. He has the worst PTSD. Does he not know the entire history of the franchise? Been a fan since 78 as he tried tequila. I don't drink tequila because it makes me black out. I had tequila once. Blacked out. I will never have tequila again. Just down about 7 beers before the game. Nope, I do not drink. So these are actually okay. These are good comments. These are not bad. So there's certain circles in the Twitter sphere that think that I absolutely hate the Canucks. There's other Canuck fans that get it, and certainly when people see me at meetups and talk to me about the Canucks, it's clear I'm a Canucks fan. Nobody who's met me at meetups or even in Anaheim, anywhere I've met with people face to face, they've never come out of that saying that I know. I've never heard of anybody coming out of it going, "Oh, he really doesn't like the Canucks." I like the team a lot, and I really hope that this is a year that proves me. Like I obviously, it's funny. It's like when people say, "Well, you just wait till they win a cup and see how you feel." I would feel freaking fantastic, okay? But for me at this point, it would be like, you know, telling 20-year-old me, "Hey, would you like a date with Claudia Schiffer or Kathy Ireland?" Well, yeah, but what are the odds of that? And that's where I feel like the odds are right now of the Canucks winning a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. Because, like, it's been 40 years I've been watching the Canucks. Unless I'm going to live until I'm in my 90s, I'm over halfway through my fandom of the Canucks. And there hasn't been a win yet in that final game of the year. So I do not understand why people would think, well, he's not a Canucks fan because he's cautious. Because he is waiting to see whether or not this is, like, waiting until about 20 games into the season before he'll say, okay, yeah, this is for real. Because I want, before this gets into the third period, I want to put it this way. Just imagine if I did a video and I said 8 games into the season, this Canucks team's for real. This is great. This is going to be awesome. And then 10 games later, they've lost 9 out of 10. I'm going to get dunked on so many times by so many people. So, yeah, I keep it all close to my chest. And the Shannon that exists when I'm not doing videos is different than the Shannon that exists when I do videos. And so, yeah. If you're a Canucks fan that believes that I'm not genuinely a Canucks fan because I don't rah, of course I'm not going to do that on camera. I don't even do it with Boston. Stanley Cup final games, I didn't even react when goals would go in against Boston. But when the camera's not on, swearing, throwing stuff, yep, that happens. But I'm not going to do that on camera. I learned very early on in the channel's existence, anything I do on camera can go viral for the worst reasons, and it will come back to haunt me years down the road. So I play it as close to the middle as possible because I got tired of people on Reddit, people on Twitter going, "Hey, remember this hot take here? It's just so stupid." So yeah, I take the hot takes and I shove them out the door and I just say, here's the numbers, here's the stats, and here's what I thought. And there you go. So anyways, I'm going to watch the rest of this really kind of tedious game, which is weird because it has 61 shots, but I think they're all from the point. I'm going to watch the rest of this. That's the other side, too, is people don't understand. Sometimes I don't feel all that into some of the games that are on. Sometimes I enjoy every game, and I'm really excited. But, again, when the camera comes on, no matter whether I've enjoyed every minute of the hockey or I haven't, I have to remain consistent. That consistency is what people are counting on, and I know that. All right, there you go. Little bonus video on the TEG channel. Thank you guys for your support. For people who think I hate the Canucks, by all means, keep thinking that. I don't know what to tell you because obviously my continued fandom doesn't matter, and it is not going to be showing up in my videos. My video is not my channel is not a Canucks channel. If it was a Canucks channel, then I'd be rah, and I could do all the cheering I want, but it's not. And most of the people who watch my videos are not Canucks fans. So I need to be mindful of that. All right. Thank you guys for all your support. It means a lot, and I will talk to you again soon.